డాడీ అక్కడ బోర్డర్ దాటారా? దాటిచ్చాడా ఏమన్నా అన్నాడా? అదేలా సరే ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు ఇందాక వచ్చింది, మళ్ళీ టాబ్లెట్ వేసుకుంది. అదే 12:30కి వెళ్ళాలి. 12:30కి వెళ్ళాలి. 12:30 1 గంటకి. అది చూస్తా, అక్కడికి వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత ఫోన్ రమ్మన్నారు. ఒకవేళ ఉంటే చూపించేస్తా. అదే ఒకవేళ ఉంటే చూపించేస్తాను ఆయనకి. నేను మళ్ళీ మాట్లాడతాను ఆగునమ్మా, నేను కొంచెం బిజీ ఉన్నా. అరే ఇస్తున్నారా? కోహోస్ట్ ఇస్తున్నారా?
గుర్తొస్తే అమ్మ మర్చిపోయినమ్మా అంటున్నారులే.
Good morning. Hello. So,
sir.
Okay,
good morning.
Great. Just one person can acknowledge that my voice is clear. Okay.
I'm unable to hear you. Can you tell?
Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
Yes. Wasim bhai.
Yeah, Zahir bhai.
ओके, आपका वॉइस क्लियर है। अभी 2 मिनट में इंट्रोडक्शन होने के बाद आपको माइक हैंड ओवर कर जाएगा।
Great. Okay.
Praveen sir, can you give me a co-host control? Some Cherishma has got co-host control.
Madam, anything happened?
Please give me co-host control.
For whom, madam?
For me, Divya here.
Already I gave na.
No, you have given to Cherishma.
Just wait.
I request the participants, please switch off your mic.
ఈశ్వర్ నువ్వు అన్న మీ సెక్షన్ మీ క్లాస్ గ్రూప్స్ లో షేర్ చేసావా లింక్ ని? నాకు చాలా మంది ఐటీ వాళ్ళు జాయిన్ అయ్యారు. ఐటీ అని కనిపిస్తున్నాయి పేర్లు.
Praveen sir, Divya CSC కి ఇచ్చారు.
సార్ చెక్ చేయ బ్రో. అది ఏమో చాలా మంది ఐటీ అసలు మనకి 20-25 మంది రావాల్సింది జూన్ లో 60-70 ఇప్పటికి 80 మంది అయిపోయారు.
సార్ CSC ది Praveen sir, can you hear me?
Madam, 1 minute.
Yeah, okay.
Madam, tell me.
Please give me a co-host control. You have given to Divya CSC.
Why these things happening today?
You can see my profile.
Check once.
Now I got. Thank you, sir. Wasim sir, can you please switch on your mic? Okay, sir. Done.
Ma'am, you can start the session, madam.
Okay, sir. Sir, is HOD sir in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just can you call him, Vijay Kumar sir? If he's in. Actually, I saw him.
1 second.
Sir, Vijay Kumar sir? Can I call him, madam?
Please call him, sir. I request Cherishma and Divya CSC. Both of you, could you please rejoin? Okay. Shall I start, sir?
Hello, sir.
Sir, HOD sir, మీ వాయిస్ రావట్లేదు sir.
1 minute, sir is talking in phone, I think.
But still voice isn't coming.
Sir, I think some problem is in your microphone, sir. We are unable to hear you.
Now, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Ma'am, you can start the session now.
Divya?
Sir, I'm starting the session now.
Yeah. Am I audible to you?
Sir, audible.
Okay.
The last day of faculty development program, developing potentials, emerging technologies of computer science by various industries, organizing by Department of CSC. On this pleasant morning, I request Dr. B. Vijay Kumar, sir, the head of CSC department, for a formal welcome. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Divya. A very good morning to all. During this COVID session, we thought of improving the skills and knowledge for all the faculty members from not only from VJIT, from other colleges and for all the academicians. We wanted to give some practical knowledge on the trending technologies present day. So in that connection, we started this FDP from Monday onwards, and there is a huge response for this FDP. I could see all the participants very patiently attending these sessions without deviating themselves, and they are very active in learning the things. So I must congratulate all the participants for having patience and attending these what you call sessions of various industries organized these days by the Department of CSC VJIT. So I thank you all for attending these sessions, and also I hope this will give you good knowledge so that you can impart your knowledge to the students in practical approach, in practical way. You can give some small projects or assignments to the students, and you can improve yourself as well as you can impart your knowledge to the students. So the sessions conducted these days were on data science and Internet of Things, blockchain technologies, and and network security. So today the session is on mobile and web applications by Mr. Mohammed Wasim Siddiqui. He is CEO of one entrepreneur. I think it is a startup company, Flip Web Development Private Limited. So I welcome you, sir, for for giving your knowledge and your ideas to boost up our the faculty community and to impress the students by our faculty. So I welcome you, sir, and you can take over the session, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. For encouragement. Let us begin the session. Our resource person for today, as sir introduced, Mohammed Wasim Siddiqui. He is the founder at Flip Web Development Private Limited, who will talk about mobile or web app development. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, who is going to talk on today's topic. Mohammed Wasim Siddiqui is in Osmania University, has done is a managing director of Masters MCA. He is a prolific Mohammed Wasim Siddiqui techno-functional personality. In his career, he has implemented over 100 plus web systems in UAE and India. His initiation and web development was in 1999. He has seen how the browsers evolved during these years and have versatile knowledge of how www works. He is passionate about anything revolving around web development with the advent of phenomenal front-end and back-end technologies. He has comprehended most of them. He runs Flip Web Development Private Limited since 2012 and exerts in understanding customers' requirements and making a system a customer wants. He has a team of like-minded people delivering state-of-the-art systems to customer. He learned sales and miraculously read world-renowned authors and is an expert in marketing and sales that helps him run his company. He is equally passionate about sales and technology. He runs sales by this mantra. If the client has a product better than ours, we won't sell. But if the client needs a product that we have, we sell it. Finally, he is an ever striving human being who values all the people around and wishes humanity better each day. Well, we welcome you, sir. Now, may I request Mohammad Wasim Siddiqui to take over the session? Over to you, sir.
It's really honored and a pleasurable introduction, okay, from both of the faculties, and it's really exciting, okay. So I was informed that I'm dealing with only students, but here I didn't know that, okay. I'm dealing with quite interesting personalities around, so I'm honored again, okay. Thanks all. And then we'll start with a screen share. So I would say, what's the agenda of my meeting? I was only allotted an hour on mobile app and web apps. Okay, so I'll just share my screen and we can move ahead. I hope you all can see my screen. The tool which I have used here is not a PowerPoint or anything, but Grammarly. This is a very modern tool where it makes me write better, okay, and to be a better writer, okay. So I've used this, and starting like 7 points we have an agenda I have, but I would be deviating a lot. Once we focus into something, we can delve a bit into it, but then I'll again come back to the original points again. So I would start with something where I'm very happy to say that I started my entire career with web development, and still I'm just doing business in web development, focusing on that. And then on the way, I happened to see mobile app development again. So it's not like from the beginning we are into mobile app development, but it started all in 1999 when I saw first time HTML code and I got interested into it. While I was doing intermediate, and then I got to see the code. Okay, so I was very keen to delve into it. Then I did my BCA in 2003. I ended that, and then I actually started doing freelance jobs by a US company. And then I started earning at that period also. Okay, so my point to even students around us and to faculties is make them pragmatic more than getting into theories and learning. I am absolutely agreeing on theory is absolutely important. There's nothing like I can't be pragmatic without I know the theory, okay? But if you miss pragmatism, then you might end up losing a couple of years after you do your education, okay? That is what I felt. My elders, basically my cousins, they pushed me towards pragmatism. They said, you need to work hard now. While I'm studying, I used to do these jobs, okay? Small jobs where I was getting paid enough, okay? For my fees and everything, okay? All through my 6 years of bachelor's and master's. So best thing to say is when I was in 2007, when I just left out my MCA master's, and then I got a job of 36,000, okay? At that particular time, while my colleagues were working for free to learn, now to be pragmatic, basically. And I was just working on a very high scale at that particular time, okay? So thereby I just worked hard in terms of my education period. This is the essence I wanted to put, that while we are studying, we need to have a pragmatic approach where we are actually using the technologies. So basically I was being taught something and I was using something else. So there was a classic ASP in terms of when I started my career, and then that was never a part of my syllabus in BCA or MCA at all, okay? And then I was actually using it on a day-to-day basis while doing a project. So again, coming back to the topics, I would be discussing my journey very quickly, and then I'll be discussing various technologies, how they evolved, and what are the current technologies we are working now, okay? And the best part is we never stuck to any kind of technology. We were always evolving with the technology, and we still are using very, very new technologies at Flip. This is what we have been particularly focusing on, okay? And this I can say because I'm a very small company, then it facilitates me to adapt new technologies very faster and sooner, unlike any other big corporate, okay, where they are stuck with legacy systems and so on. And I hope you guys can write notes, just the key notes if you want, because this would be a great knowledge point in terms of what I'm saying in maybe 1 hour, okay, maximum. So, but if you, the first point would be to make students be pragmatic along with the education, which is totally a chaos and a gap even today. Even today, I see even my cousins now, they're wasting time even after completing their engineering and so on. Okay, so that's a very bad thing happening even now. So it didn't change since 17 years when I last passed out. Okay, so it is still the same. And I would be recommending faculty good books to read, which is actually very, it's absolutely missing in our system. Keeping the system as is, but still I would recommend current cutting edge technology authors, which are very, very respected in the code we write today, okay? They shape us, they are on Twitter, they are very, very much alive, and they are just tweeting us the new things and so on, okay? So I would be introducing those things also in this. Then I would be open to question and answers at the end of session for maybe about 10-15 minutes or so. You can put me any kind of question and I hope I can answer it, okay? If not, pardon me, okay? If not, I would apologize, but I would not put up something which I don't know of, okay? I would be quite honest if I don't know anything. Now, what I can't do now is I can't show you guys code, which means like the actual development process, although I would really wanted to do that, but due to time constraint, I would not be able to do that, okay? And let's keep it very clean, the session, and this is one of its kind. Due to COVID, we are doing this. Otherwise, I would have visited VJIT and then we would have a very face-to-face session, okay? So let's keep it clean, and then please don't turn off your mics, okay? Even if you have something, write it down. This is what I learned all through my career, okay? I would be writing down so I don't miss any points which I need to ask anyone around, okay, when they are giving me a session. So I would always write it down, and then in the end, I would just throw the questions to the presenter, okay? And those things are the major building blocks. Okay, let me see. I have a call. 1 second. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's a 2 hour. Okay, I'll handle it. No problem. No. That's fine. It's a 2 hour. We can go 3 hours again. That's fine. Thank you. Mike. So Mr. Zahir called me about saying we have a 2 hour session, but yes, it's a 2 hour session. So I was just talking about web development part of it. My 70% of the talk would be in web development stuff, okay, and then mobile app would be a part of it, because still I feel like we need to speak a lot about web development more than mobile app development. And there's a guarantee mobile app can go away in near future, maybe in 10 years. There won't be any mobile apps, but yes, there would be web apps always, okay? So I would be going by that instinct. And then I will say why I'm going by that. When I started, okay, let me go by each point, okay? So we'll focus on web development also. When I started in 99, basically web development, learning web development was a development. Actually, it's a coding area, which was very cheap, okay? We don't require any costly hardwares to run the code. And it was very pragmatic in a way where I can just change colors. I can change the UI instantaneously, almost instantaneous, and then I would see the results right away, and the person whom we are showing, the customers, would be rightly commenting right away. They would be commenting on it, and we would be fixing it right away. So it's a very small cycle in terms of rolling down the production system, okay? So this is where I started feeling much better towards web development, unlike I had at that time. Like I said, okay, I loved embedded systems. I loved aeronautics, okay, being an aeronautic myself. But again, there were price constraints. There were heavy hardware constraints if we were supposed to do these things at that era, okay? Now it's very easy to become an aeronautical engineer or becoming an embedded or IoT kind of person. You can easily do that, okay? Because hardware is much cheaper now compared in 99 or maybe 2003, okay, at that era. So for me, it was a comfort zone. I chose web development. Okay. And the key points which I chose and still are valid, surprisingly, they are still valid, is there was something where web development would never die, was something I realized in 2003. I talked to my lecturers at that particular time. They were pushing me into embedded systems and maybe a networking side and so on. But I was very a staunch believer that, okay, web development will never be a point where we would be not focusing on, okay? At least in my lifetime, okay? I would be really working only on web development. This was my thought process, and still I believe in that after 17 years, okay? And I still have, like, maybe we have 20 years more, 30 years, I don't know, okay? But only to comment here, the web development which we did every year has evolved around 10 years. So basically in 10 years, it has evolved around 100 years, okay? And we have been adapting that, we have been doing those things, okay? And we have to keep up with those technologies. That's the most painful and challenging and always fun. If you have a technology and then it gets abrogated or obsolete, and then you have a new technology, that's always very good thing, because I get bored by the things we have. Usually I get bored, okay? This is my personality. And then, so I got to learn every time a new set of technologies, which has a downside also, which I think my entire talk is on the downside of if a technology changes a lot, then what will happen, okay? So we won't be able to build nice systems for customers if every time the technology changes. So there should be a minimum period where we are changing technology, and I don't still see anyone from web development gangs, like, who are managing these things, and from the mobile app development people, that they are not actually complying to those methodologies, okay, which has been taught by C++ developer, like the owner of C++, the creator of C++. He used to, if you pick up any Wikipedia and see, they used to release each version after 10 years. Why? Because customers are programmers. They should be able to adapt it, use it on the system, test it properly, and then keep using for 10 years, okay? Now, this point is very important for you to understand, that the early developers of languages were believers of customer-centric deliveries, okay? They used to give languages with very large period to exercise it, okay? Once we have a new technology, then developers have to exercise it, implement in a system, and deliver it to the customers. And then that was totally abandoned, that was totally missing post 2000 era, okay? Everybody were concentrating only for go-to-market, okay? They wanted to go to market as soon as possible. So that actually created a quite havoc, chaos problem for everyone around us. And to the saddest part of it, we are still living and surviving that. We are still doing the same thing, okay? We use a technology and they just throw it away, okay? And then they bring a new set of technologies. You use a version, then you throw away a version, you have a new set of version, okay? For us, it's good. Like, we got to see new things every now and then, okay? But the point is customer-centric. There's a missing on their end, okay? They invest on something, then they have to throw it away. That becomes stale, and then they have to invest on something new as per the technology, okay? And now at the end of maybe 20 years, 2020, everybody said, okay, it's part of the web development and mobile app life cycle, that if you are a developer, then you don't have to complain on all these things, and you just have to survive by the best technology coming in, okay? So there's no complaint on my end. I'm just going through a cycle, what we have actually, or we went through, okay? So coming to the point, initially when we actually used to build websites, any website, the Yahoo website, and we had I saw VSNL site in 99, okay? They had a site, VSNL. So that was the first time I saw a website, okay? That was VSNL. And their website was totally customer server side oriented thing, okay? They didn't have anything as saying of client side, okay? That was the age where everybody were just concentrating on server-side applications. Via ASP, we had ASP at that time from Microsoft, and Java servlets from a Java community. Okay, basically it was a open source community, which is not now. Okay, Java is bought by Oracle, and they are maintaining it. So at that time, Java was open source, and they were doing it via servlets. Now, coming to the fourth point, which is there on the list, we have client-side applications where just to put form validations where we have no beautification was in concern. Like nobody were thinking about beautifying the interfaces. There was no thought as such, okay? And we had very few browsers at that age, okay? Just to name a few, Netscape Navigator and I was the only two, with Opera maybe coming late into it. There was no Chrome, there was no the modern browsers, okay? There were no modern browsers at all, okay? So if everything which was running, the client-side applications which were running, the logics were in VB script because of IE influence, or JavaScript because of Netscape influence, okay? So there were two kind of scripts when it comes to client-side applications. Now, VB script died because JavaScript became prolific, and it was like everywhere we found was JavaScript, okay? So it was the kind of just one language being used on client side, and basically for validations. This is a very important point to note. There was no UI concerns about client side applications. Even the UI was governed by server side applications. How the structuring of the HTML should be, how the CSS should be, everything was placed on server side. And there were good technologies like ASP, which I was very expert in. I started from 2003 doing classic ASP. We term it as classic ASP, not ASP.NET as we see now. So those were the areas where we delved in and we mastered that ASP. It was something where we ran the whole business logic on ASP, and then we were just sending the output as HTML to the client, which runs in a browser. Okay. Now, and the focus now, the focus of running a website was only on a particular device, which I'm highlighting here, was only a desktop device. Okay. There was no mobile, there was no any other device, unlike what we see now. Okay. There was only desktops, which were Pentiums or so on. Okay. The machines were actual machines. So people were only focusing on browsers and a device. And I used to work on different browsers. Now, what happened is during this era was a very dark age, we can say, because Opera was implementing the HTML in its own way. IE was implementing HTML in its own way. Now, Firefox came, Chrome came, they became a bit standard in terms of following W3C. W3C still exists, team, okay, and they are working hard to standardize the HTML on client end. Okay, so they work very hard in order to compile the to make browsers standard, to make HTML sit on different browsers and be standard. So now today, maybe they are 10% deviating still from the standards, but Firefox, Chrome all follows the standard 100% of it. Okay, so now there's no browser war. At that time, we used to write, I used to write different code snippets for different browsers. So that was very, very, very like not productive, unproductive, and also used to give us a lot of pain, okay, as a developer. So then came the advent of jQuery, the next thing. Okay, before even handling the browser, it used to handle a browser war where jQuery used to translate all the HTML. It used to compile it and run specifically on different browsers. So it used to handle this. Now after jQuery, there came an age where every browser used to have used and followed the standards of HTML, okay, given by W3C. So during that period came jQuery, and they ran for 10 years. They operated for 10 years and is still in market. jQuery is still in market, but we are not using it at all. Okay, so just to know, you can write it down. We are not using jQuery at all. Okay, in this era, okay, of 2020. But jQuery is a strong tool to operate virtual DOM, to handle many other things. Maybe this is becoming a quite bit technical. Just bear with me and just write it down as you see here. Okay, so we have a DOM, like document object model, where the HTML gets rendered. Okay, so jQuery used to have those rendering mechanisms according to different browsers, and they used to do the dirty work for developers. So for developers, it was a great relief when jQuery came. Okay, I used to write a lot and heavy code in jQuery. I was very happy. I didn't have to write specific snippets for different browsers. Okay, so there, that came the age of jQuery. Still, mobile apps are not in focus. Okay, this is in 2007. I'm saying 6 and 7. Okay, still mobile apps are not in focus. Okay, now with the jQuery, there was a lack of architecture for UI design. So okay, jQuery came, but now the initiation of customer client centric code, the client side script was coming in. Okay, and unknowingly. Okay, it was not intended at all. Okay, so now the UI designs can be managed via jQuery or any other libraries, but jQuery was hugely, and even today it lacks the architecture. Okay, it doesn't have a particular architecture on how to design your user interfaces and interact with the backend APIs. Okay, it doesn't have anything of that sort. Now, then there came, okay, it was a very brief period, very small period, where came libraries where we were overwhelmed. Okay, this was in the period from 2010 to 2000, maybe 13 or 14. Okay, where there came libraries offering architectures and wanted to take an advantage of jQuery's missing architecture and offered something good. Okay, and we used, like, we had Knockout.js, Backbone.js. They still exist. Okay, they still exist. Nobody uses it a lot. Okay, but they still, and 10 plus more libraries. Basically 50 more libraries came in. Okay, I'm just specifying 10 plus libraries because we have used them in our projects during these timelines. Okay, now so basically by this time I am quite evident. I still remember very freshly that market was totally chaotic and it was very overwhelming for even the developers and students of that age what to learn. Okay, they were not having any kind of focus. Now Knockout, if you learn Knockout.js, it would take you at least a month to 2 months to master it. Backbone.js, again the same thing. So developers were always having loss of focus on what to learn in terms of front-end technologies. Okay, I'm not even speaking about back-end technologies, which are quite good even today. Okay, quite good, but I'm speaking about front-end because front-end is the thing which is the huge, I hugely responsible for seeing a website, not the back-end. So how the website is, you can only justify by when you see it a front-end, okay, with front-end technologies and so on. Okay, now again, the team. Now I was running a team and we had run Knockout.js. We have used to develop SPAs, as I wrote here. Okay, single page applications came like there won't be any postbacks on web development. There won't be any postbacks at all. Okay, so that was something very nice in terms of understanding that okay, there's single page and there's no postback. Postback at that time was too heavy because the internet connection even now is not good. Even today is not good. But at that time, there was very, very bad internet speeds in India and anywhere else. Okay, so single page was very nicely proposed system. Okay, where you can have in a single page everything. And even today, you see many websites. I'll show a demo now where everything is in single page. Okay, but these were points when it was an era of again 2012 to 2015, 16, and that's it. Okay, so there are no single page applications today. Okay, as of now, we don't build any single page SPS. We don't build today. So if you observe in 17 years, I'm talking about, like, I can go and keep on talking for hours and hours of a journey and how fast the things changed. It was like 170 years of journey in 17 years. Okay, so it was very rough technology in terms of web development. Okay, so still no focus of mobile apps. Okay, still there were no mobile apps until we were hitting 2008. Okay, 2008 I was in Dubai and the company just threw me a Mac machine and they asked me to build a mobile app out of the box. Okay, without any knowledge or anything. They trusted me that you can do this, and they just gave me a Mac mini at that time, 2008, and there I started learning Xcode and the languages, Objective-C kind of thing at that period. Okay, I gave a try for 6 months, and then I said, I cannot do this because it's too early to jump as a career into it. Okay, so I just left it. I abandoned it. Okay, because there were so many issues even in initial iOS releases. Okay, so thereby I just abandoned that and continued working on web. Now, now again, I was deviated. I just will go back to it again. So the problem we were facing now is systems we built became stale, which is like quite old very quickly. Let's say if I build, and there were times when even while we were just producing it, the technology which we were using it was highly discouraged to use. We read the news everywhere in blogs and everywhere and finished. Okay? We were like, okay, we can't use it. Then why we wasted 1 month on it? Because on the website, even today, Knockout is very promising. The other libraries are still promising. They say that, okay? But when you actually use it, it doesn't work well with large systems. Okay? So that is where we get fooled around maybe with the technologies. And so basically I'm making you confused, but at the end I'll put a very clean instruction on how to choose a technology. Okay, so bear with me for this chaotic journey which I had. I'm sharing the same, so you get chaotic in maybe 1-2 hours. Okay, and then in the end I'll propose you what actually is required in terms of a technology and how we choose a technology, and which we are doing now. Okay, in Flip, like we learned how to adapt technology and how soon we can adapt. So just moving on, why libraries were coming is for the desperation to win something in the market and become very famous. Okay, and they were lacking these things importantly. Okay, reasoning for architecture, the customer usability, like the developers should adapt it and use it. They were totally missing these key points. Okay, when you design a language, when you design any library, you need to have these focuses in yourself. Okay, like, okay, whom are the audiences, what they're doing it, and how much long can I make a version stretch, and then maybe I can introduce one more version into the market. Okay, these are the things totally missing on library vendors. Okay, the owners or creators of the libraries were totally missing this. And this is what not I am saying. The C++ owner commented on the current age of web development. Now, there's one more guy who commented, a very bigger name in industry. Again, they commented that these people are not making systems run properly. Okay, and that's the chaos web development is seeing now. There was no customer loyalty because customers were just jumping to another technology right away the moment a new technology promises something better than the old technologies. Okay, so that is how it is. Now, then came there was no certain design pattern or a complete architecture from any good vendor. Okay, until this point. Okay, where it's 13th point I'm on. Now, AngularJS came promising there's a design pattern, MVVM, model view model. Okay, which will allow you to write very robust, very nice applications. Okay, this is what you can learn till now. Like MVVM is a design pattern for UI, which will give you a solid approach in terms of implementing user interface designs again on code. So this came, AngularJS came with Google backing. So basically Google introduced AngularJS. So we were very relieved. Now somebody very, very big name backed a technology, not Knockout.js, not Backbone.js or something, or 10 plus libraries, which were from individuals into the market. But there's Google who is talking about UI, building, design pattern, and so on. Okay, so we were very fast in terms of adapting it. Okay, so we developed actually in Angular 1.0, we developed the apps and so on. And then came a very big announcement, which was very disappointing from Google again. Google, okay, you can learn these things once you write it down from Wikipedia and from the Google. Okay, so there came an announcement that we are completely abandoning 1.0 and you have to completely rewrite Angular 2.0 in a very different way and manner you learned in 1.0. That was again a very problematic thing for the applications which were already developed in 1.0. Who would invest even a couple of months of work, man-hours, okay, which we were doing in terms of development to convert into 2.0? Customer would be paying it, or we are giving them a free service. Okay, this is the crucial thing which I'm explaining you guys who will be paying for moving on from 1.0 to 2.0 in about maybe not even 6 months to 1 year. Okay, if you see the releases, it's like maybe a year maximum. Okay, where they launched 1.0, they had 2.0 again quickly. Okay, so I'm saying a period where even if you adapt it for a 1 year, and then you shouldn't be changing it for at least 3-4 years down the line. Okay, so anyway, 2.0 came and then people started doing it. We abandoned AngularJS once 2.0 came. Okay, we never used it again. Okay, so again, and luckily we didn't use it, and now it has been replaced totally. It has been stale or thrown away by Google. Okay, and we have Flutter now. Okay, there's a Flutter stuff coming from Google again. So what happened to those systems we built in Angular? So then that's the biggest question, okay, on Google's end. So basically, again, I'm not too much complaining about that, but this is how we journeyed. Okay, even Google, even Facebook, they couldn't cope up with the changes happening in terms of web development. Okay, now partially this is due to lack of architecture, I would suggest that. And I would feel like, okay, there was no architecture and there was a huge desperation from customers. Also, like tons of websites, millions and billions of websites reside now. Okay, at least millions of websites are now being built by everyone around. As a development company, I get at least 5 leads daily from alone Hyderabad, not apart from the country, only a city like Hyderabad, saying we need a website, we need a website, and we need a website. So this is a very small company. We are around 15 people to 20 people together with the sales team, development team, and so on. But still we receive 5 inquiries daily, okay, in Hyderabad. So the point is, we are being so rushed to develop something very fast. So this is the inherent nature of web development. This will never go away. This is like every time we need something new and we need something satisfying for the customers. Okay, that's the very good point I'm making at the end of this chaos. Okay, so the point is, we need to have everything. So if you're being a web developer, then you should be ready to accept this, that every time something new comes in, you adapt it. So when to adapt, I'll let you know again. Okay, when you really adapt it. Okay, so I will let you know in the end again. So how to adapt and when to adapt, what are the guidelines to adapt, and you can tell this to your students. Okay, so how to adapt a technology, and that is what we learned. And then now see, I'm just talking about till now only client-side technologies, okay, which is like jQuery, AngularJS, and the knockout JSS and so on, and JavaScript and together. Okay, so everything. Now coming to your backend technologies now, which will front-end technologies cannot run if we don't have backend technologies, and vice versa. Okay, so at that point, at that age, there were only one kind of developer. Okay, like full stack developer. When I used to work on HTML, I used to work on JavaScript, like jQueries and so on, and then I used to work even on the backend. And even the hirings which we did in Fliv in Hyderabad were full stack developers. Like, okay, he need to know backend, he need to know front end. So a complete package in one person. Now with the advent of Angular 2.0, and there came React.js also. Okay, so from there on, we had to have 2 set of people working on one web development project. Okay, we didn't have post, let's say 2012, 2013, post that we had only one developer working for us, which would have handled entire application, okay, from front end to back end. Now in 2020, I cannot think of a full stack developer at all. Even if somebody offers me that, okay, I am learned on as a full stack on React and on the backend, I wouldn't keep it him in the company, because of the fact that he might not be a master in both of them. Okay, so I would be having a different set of teams for my React.js thing, which is from Facebook. Okay, let me introduce. React.js is a technology post Angular 2.0, which had a very huge impact. Why? Because Facebook is entirely in React.js. The Facebook chat you see, okay, the chat we do in Facebook is still in React. Okay, So that was very proven in terms of technology. So people started adapting it. Initially, React.js was only for Facebook. They didn't open source it. Later on, they had to open source it in order to make it very big, okay, and promising. So with the advent again of React.js in terms of open source, people started using it a lot, since Google and Facebook are something like very big names in industry, and still Facebook backs up React.js, okay? And they have a certain set of technologies revolving around React.js, like Redux. Redux is one of it. Flux is one of it, okay? They have a lot of technologies, again, complementing React.js, okay? So React.js is a safe platform as of now. As of today, we are using React.js and React Native for mobile apps, okay, as of today, okay? So we came and arrived to an era of React. We do have Angular. People use it in market, but we don't use it in Flip, okay? Because if you compare anywhere on the web, React.js has more better in terms of architecture than Angular 2.0, okay? Now, coming to the end of, I think, the actual voyage or a journey which I did, okay, and it was quite chaotic, okay. Now, coming to this, I'll just add up 2 points here. See, only 2 points in terms of backend technologies, okay. So I started my career also with VB script, which was classic ASP's like a combination of classic ASP and VB script, okay. So, and then I started myself, I bought, like my father brought me first Windows in 1999, but I was not allowed to use it until and unless I cleared my MSET again. So post that, I was given my box again, Windows box. So I was lucky enough to see Windows in 2001 or 2000, I think, sorry, 2000. And around those era, Windows was something very new, and there was no Mac at all, okay? Like, at least in India, there were very rare pieces, okay? So Microsoft was something where we got attached to emotionally. Even if I see now the screensavers, the backgrounds of something from 2000 or 99, Windows 98, basically we had to see Windows 98, and I used to do a lot of development also on that using classic ASP. So I tend to become melancholic, okay? The right word would be melancholic, because I had my family, like I was very young at that age, maybe 17 or 16, and then I become very melancholic. I have an emotional connect with Windows, okay? So that's the reason I've been, it's kidding, okay? Basically, I just went into C#. I saw it's a very nice language. It still exists very nicely, okay? So on backend, on the server side, we just use C# heavily, okay? And there's a counterpart, which is PHP. Everybody knows that on earth, PHP, not but C#, okay? Now, PHP is very popular language, another very robust, very nice language, okay? Now, both comparisons is something very, there's no justice to compare both of them. They are both quite popular. PHP is still open source. C# is a closed source, okay? Please write these down if you want. Closed source and open source are two things which are very important in terms of choosing what technologies you're opting for development. This is very important aspect, closed source and an open source. If you ask me honestly, I'm into web since the beginning till now. So I would still opt a closed source rather than going towards open source, okay? They both have pros and cons, but if you want to build a very big system, you should have a technology which is open source. Pause, okay? There's no second view about it, okay? There's no second view about it. So if you want to use or you want to build a very big product and you want to commercialize it, then you need to have a technology which is closed source. But if you want to build something very large in terms of customer-oriented process or something, and then you want to build like Gmail example or something, or not a product where you're selling something, okay, then you can still have, why I'm putting this as a liability, okay? When you're liable to, in closed source, commercial systems, you're liable to provide absolute service. You can't wait saying that, okay, we are waiting for an open source version to come in and we have to do something, okay? Please, okay, I'll slow down here. This is a very important point. Again, I'm repeating. Closed source is what I'll explain you, is monitored by a company like Fliv or Microsoft or IBM, where they have their own team sitting on the technology and developing a technology which will be used by someone else to develop a product. And they'll be paying to Microsoft, like I'll be paying, Fliv will be paying to Microsoft to use C#, example, or any other technology which is a paid technology. So what happens if we pay? So if we pay, they are liable to help us when we are stuck. They offer a service. I've seen technologies which take $14,000, $15,000 every year, okay, just to get a support, first-hand support. Now, you will not get something similar from open source. So open source is a relaxed system. If you're building a relaxed system where users are not liable, like there's no liability on the movement of the product. Let's say you have a bug. Now, let me ask you, in Gmail, if you have a bug, you have to wait unless they release something from them, okay, from their end. And if that bug is due to something they're using as an open source, then they still have to wait for that open source developers to write down at their comfort levels and push that feature to Gmail. Gmail will use it and do fix within themselves, okay, that thing. So that makes a connect, okay. So, but if you compare with C# or any other language, okay, any other language or technology, which is a paid technology, then they are liable to immediately support within, let's say, 15 days, 10 days, 5 days, okay. I'm not delving again more into that subject. It's a very big subject again if we touch, but just think they will work at their comfort levels, okay. If they're not free for a week, they will never come back and work for you in open source. But in closed source, even if they have like a 1 week off, they might put up a team and support you instantaneously because you're paying them a lot of money, okay. That is how it is. So just to clear up what is open source and closed source, okay. So basically C# is a closed source, it's still closed source, okay, and I'm happy to use that because there's a directional approach, and also in closed source and open source, there's a majority of people working on open source, which will be a great advantage when you see open source products, okay. They're very versatile. I'm repeating again, they are very versatile, they are very vast. You can do anything with those things. Compared to C#, you have to go back to them and ask them, okay, this is what you need, and then they will start doing and preparing those things for you and something like that. So community difference is a big thing. A PHP community, if you watch, is maybe 100 times bigger than C# community, okay. So there's a quite pros and cons between them. And then now Facebook, if you see Facebook, if we talk about PHP again a bit more, I don't find Stack Overflow. I used to, it was in C#. While back, Stack Overflow is a forum widely used by technical people, okay? They will understand that. So that was used via C#, okay, as a backend. But now I don't think it is any way like a C# there, okay? But if you see Facebook actually started with PHP, and Mark Zuckerberg, he also said maybe a few years back, he said, I'm like, I used the open source technology to build Facebook, but I'm stuck with that again. I'm totally stuck and I regret that. Okay, so you can find the comments from him. So basically, why? Because again, being open source, if you have any bugs or something, it's very hard to go to open source, request them to do a fix for them and get launched in the next version, okay? So, and if they like, they might even miss few features in the next version. You might have to wait for another version. You might have to wait for another version. We have been doing this. We have stuck on few areas in open source and we have to wait for them to release a fix. And what will happen? Our customers don't understand that because we have taken payments from them. We have taken, it's a commercialized app for between me and my customer. It's a commercialized relation. But from my end to the PHP community, it's not a commercialized. I'm not liable to go them, or they are not liable in turn to give me anything, okay? So that's the biggest learning. If you want to build a commercialized system, then obviously on a large scale, then obviously you have to build it via closed systems, okay, where you can go back and ping them and take their supports. Now, this was a complete web development area which I covered in, and I just touch up few points there. Okay, not entirely indulging in each and every point, but fair enough. If you have written something on your end, it could be a scattered keywords, and you can go on Google and search for those things more, okay, in depth. And I'll be always available if you guys want to reach me, okay. Now, just to comment this part, okay, is very important also before I delve into mobile app development, okay. So there are quite kind of books, okay, when you actually write any kind of code, now front end or back end, when you write code, when you really write code, okay, then you have to know these books. If you don't know these books, you cannot write good code, okay. So basically, if you don't read these books, you cannot write good code. Now, I know 80% of the people who I interview, if I name or throw these names to them, or my developers who are interviewing, if they throw a name to them, they have no idea. They have no idea. They are coming from big companies to my company because we are a startup company, and they want to love to work in a startup environment because it's very agile. Like, it's very fast moving. We adapt technologies very fast, unlike if you go to any other company, okay. So let's say Mahindra, Satya Mahindra, or maybe if you go to any other current companies in India, Wipro or something, they use something which is a legacy, okay, like the older systems. Why? Because they are committed, and they use closed source. Obviously, we use open source on our projects, okay. We can bargain with our customers. So basically, again, we tend to use new technology with new customers or customers coming in, but they can't do that, okay. Bigger companies can't do that. So for that particular reason, even developers, they get suffocated using old technologies, old kind of learnings and so on. And then when they sit with us or our team, they have no idea what we are talking about in terms of latest technologies, okay. So by that, they lose their job satisfaction, and they try hunting for new startup companies. And this is where we fit in, okay. And once they come in, they don't know any idea about these things, although they are working in big companies, okay. So I don't know how they write code. So basic thing is, you need to know these, like maybe 4 or 5 books you need to know, and you should have always that in shelf, okay. Now, I have physical books. I also have on my Kindle. I have those books, okay, on my Kindle, so I can read it whenever I'm free, okay. Although I'm a businessman now, more than a developer, but I'm always in dilemma. Am I a developer, a coder, or a businessman, okay? I'm always confused. And I have the similar kind of interest in both of them now, okay? So going on, Code Complete is a book where you can learn a lot on how to write even the smallest snippets, okay? It's a very pragmatic. These are not theory books, what we really learn in our academics, okay? These are something very, very, very pragmatic. These developers have worked on very huge and big systems, okay, to the smallest systems. So they have written something very concrete there, which is of day-to-day use. Like, it will be really useful for all of us, okay, if we do read those books. And I would recommend that, please, if you have 100 students or maybe 500 students, ask them to take and do read these books, okay. If you just throw them this, I would guarantee your people, or the people who are studying there, would be going to very big companies again. Very big companies. If you go to Google and you say, okay, I know Code Complete, I know design patterns, Gang of 4 and everything, they would just give you a job in terms of team leading, okay. They will never ask you to write any code, okay. They will ask you, I'm very certain. Now, I'll give you an example very quickly. I had a junior working under me for 6 months. He just started his career, okay. He was working with me for 6 months. He wrote code with me. And when he went to Genpact, GE, okay, Genpact at that time. So he was interviewed for a junior developer. I have his email still now. So he emailed me back saying, and he called me also. He said, Mr. Wasim, what I learned in 6 months, okay, I just spoke that in the interview, and they just started speaking in those levels. And they said, you can lead a team. You should not be doing coding anymore, okay. Our architecture is way bad than what you are even thinking and you're talking about, okay. So they didn't look at his experience. They looked at what he knows in terms of architecture level. Okay. So basically, he was appointed as a team lead in Genpact by just learning good code for 6 months of period. Okay, only 6 months. And then I used to guide him on how to do things once he joined that company. Okay, so now coming to me, many employees, many people I met, many developers used to think why I didn't work for MNCs or big companies, and I'm still working with my own team and so on. Okay, so I felt if I go to them, I would be really stuck up. I won't have a job satisfaction, although I would have a very luxury life, okay, luxury work life, I'm saying, okay, but still I would be missing my job satisfaction where I'm just designing something where they say me, and I would be only using those technologies which they say me, okay. So that's a major difference between having a startup or working in a startup and going and working for a big company, okay. So it's a trade-off. If you are comfortable, like I do want now, maybe if I can go and lead a team or something, or maybe better than that as a product development team, okay, I can go into that and maybe spend my coming 2-3 years in that and then come back and handle my company, okay. I can do that, always I can do that, okay. They would love to take a person from a startup and put it into their own small startups, okay. Then, so big companies have small startups within them. They give me a product, they ask me to develop a product, and thereby I'll be implementing all these new techniques and giving them a good ROI, okay, on a return on investment after once I complete a product, okay. So that is very much possible even today, okay. So now coming to the languages. So see, when we talk about, we just spoke about C# and JavaScript and PHP, but believe me, there are 22 different languages in market, like Python, Perl, okay. And now I can only term you maybe 10 to 15, but there are more than 50 languages in market. So I met a person personally where I was very inspired, okay. He was my mentor for maybe 4 months in 2006, okay. So that guy knew 22 languages as an expert, okay. That changed my course of learning, okay. That really changed myself, how I learned, how I see a computer system and so on, okay. And the coding, particularly programming, how I see it, okay. So he had mastered 22 different languages. When I sat with him, me and my colleagues, when we went to learn something from them, we were learning Ruby on Rails in 2006, okay. So at that time, we started counting, and we were just like, we died when we just did like maybe 15. We were able to count only 15 languages. Although I was doing masters in computer applications, but still I didn't know more than 15 languages. Now this guy knew 22 languages like an expert. And now let me tell you, this guy was in C++ community. Even now we have a C++ community. He was in top 100 of those people, okay, like top 100. So basically he taught me, and I'm saying the same thing to everyone around now, that learn as many languages as you can, okay. Learn as many languages as you can, but become expert in few of them to live your life, okay. You still have to earn, okay. We have to learn, and we have to start implementing and giving good systems to the people so they pay us, okay. We have to build good systems so they pay us. We can't give them bad systems so they don't pay us or curse us after we leave their companies, okay. So, and that is how it is. So learn as many programming languages as you can. You don't have to stuck up only on C, C++, C#, PHP. No. Now, if you ask me, I can learn any language today, okay? Any language. This is what Facebook and Google believes, okay? When you get hired there, they will only ask you to do pseudo coding, okay? Pseudo code is what we write in academics, okay? Where we have just algorithm-based languages and so on, okay? Why? Because that will show our analytical skills, our mathematical skills, okay, and how we think and shape the solution, okay. They don't tend to, okay, you don't have to be an expert in PHP, C# and so on. They never bother about a language. Only thing what they bother about is how, the way you think. So this is very important for you even to go to MNCs, okay. This is the building block. You can say there, I don't know any language, but I know how to implement solutions. They will hire you immediately, okay, if you say that. So that is how it is. And then why we think, me, Google, and everyone, like, okay, languages are not very, very important, is any language on earth you can learn in 1 year maximum. C++ you can learn in one couple of years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Okay, the most complex language on earth is C++. So that will take you 5 years to become master. Okay, 5 to 6 years. But coming to C#, you can learn in 3 months, 4 months, finish. You will be at job, okay, doing work with it. Okay, and you see PHP day one, you can start working with it. Again, 4 months, you learn PHP, you start working on it. Okay. So this is where, but as you know, many languages, you will understand why we have so many languages, what they address when we have so many languages, what are the differences between the languages. You'll become a language expert. You will in turn know if a solution comes to you, then which language to use. That is the essence of knowing many languages. Okay. Now, even if you see our speaking languages, we have so many variations in India. Okay, we have so many expressions inside the language, where if you speak like Sanskrit is the oldest language we use, but we have so many different aspects to it, which I'm very, very, very hopeful, and I can challenge on that we don't know those aspects of language, because we use very shallow type of languages now. Okay, hi, bye, and hello kind of stuff. Okay, now we don't know the discipline of languages. Why? Because we have only used one language, which is not even ours. Okay, so basically, and then we do have our Urdu, Hindi, and so on. Okay, those languages, even we are not master in those languages now. Okay, so basically you are only speaking one language, which is a global language. Language is only used for communication these days. Sign languages you can use even if you don't know anything. Okay, so same way computer languages are to know computers better. If you want to really engage with computers, you need to know what kind of stuff you can do with different kind of languages. So if you know only one language, you're not master, you don't know computers at all. I can say you that. If I know C#, I just know C#, that's it, and I know only one aspect of computers. Okay, now maybe we have very good people speaking before this session. Okay, this is the last session, but they have been telling you many other aspects of computers, correct? But they never mentioned C#, they never mentioned PHP. Why? Because they have their own set of languages they are using. Okay, in IoT they use something else, Java, C++, and so on. So basically learning a language will enable you to explore many aspects of computers. Okay, what it does and what it can do and what it can even do in future. Okay, this is where we have to learn. Okay, languages. Now moving on. Okay, this is the highlighted point where I always used to know what I'm coding. Okay, I know what I'm coding. The point is I need to know, I need to enjoy what I'm actually writing. If I'm just copying and pasting it from any other platform and my colleagues give me some code, they throw me code, but I don't know what is in it. Okay, it's good. It's really good to get launched, get your salary paid at the end of month. Okay, you accomplish that point of view. Okay, but you will never be able to do something on your own. Okay, believe me and trust me. Okay, I can challenge on that. You can never be able to write anything on your own. Okay, so what I advise to people around, again, obviously in your 8 hours you're getting paid, so you can't read code. Okay, but you do have your free time at the end of day where you can sit a bit more stretch and start analyzing what the code does. Okay, now this is actually missing in everyone. I think 90% of the people don't know when they write something. So if you're inheriting code from your seniors, then please start reading the code and asking them the questions. So and then querying them back why you wrote something like this, and could it be written in this manner? Okay, and so that way you can even interact with them, and then you gain a trust with them, and then they might even push you towards more better code. Okay, writing. And this is what I've been doing. I did a lot in my career where I disrupted the senior developers. I disrupted. Okay, I said, no, you guys are writing wrong code. I can write better code than this. That was very hard for them to understand and digest, but that's a part of thing. Now, even today, if somebody comes and say me, you're doing something wrong, I have to adapt, man. I will thank them a lot. I'll ask them, show me where I'm wrong, and then I'll adapt it. Okay, honestly. And that is how I've been living since 17 years. Okay, you have to respect anyone around you and start learning things. Okay, you can never be stagnant in this area, you will be kicked out of the business. Okay, if you're something very like you know only C# and you just work in that language, and you don't even respect the coming versions in C#, okay, which is like 5.0, 6.0 currently. Okay, I started with C# 2.0, not 1.0. So there came like 5-6 variations after that, but I always knew what is new in C#, okay, the new version. So that is how it is. And then and I always sit, even today I sit with my team. Okay, I have actually a session today with my React team where they are going to explain me the application, how it is built and what kind of architecture they have used. And then I would actually validate that from hunting on Google. Okay, I go to big teams who does something in React. I validate my approach and my team's approach with them. Okay, so I run today a team of .NET developers, PHP developers, React developers, iOS and Android developers. So 5 teams we are managing now. Okay, so still I need to know these guys are doing right or wrong. Why? Because I've written here. Okay, because my business today relies absolutely on good coding. Okay, so I should be very proud of what we are delivering in terms of market. So I'm not just a company where I'm not concerned about coding. Okay, and that is the one reason where I didn't saw a huge growth in my company. Okay, because the moment I grow a lot, then I need to trade off this value. Okay, good coding. I would have to abandon that good coding thing, and I would just have to go by business again. This is ironic. This is really ironic. I don't find any company who writes great code and does great business at the same time. Okay, I'm trying to learn that how to do. Honestly, I'm very like I have no clue how it works. I have no idea how it works, but still we are making attempts. We are making frameworks. Okay, on our end, good coding frameworks. So even if the new people join us, then they follow the same patterns and practices. Okay. So this is the journey of a developer, okay, or a coding thing. Okay, you need to be a good coder. You are going into IoT, you're going into data sciences, you're going into mobile app development. Everywhere you need code. Everywhere you need code. Okay, and then you have to write good code. And code complete and the books I said applies on every vertical. It's not related to web or mobile. Okay, believe me, it's around every vertical on code. Okay. So coming to mobile app, if you notice, we have 45 minutes, but I have very small stuff to talk about it because it's very small even today. I don't believe mobile apps have even matured enough today. Okay, I can say that because it's still, we have to see a lot in them to happen. Okay, it's been like only 10 years now, not even 10 years properly, from 2012 or 13, it is actually saw the light where people started building mobile apps. Okay. So the age when I saw mobile app was on Blackberries in Dubai. That was in 2008 and 9, where there was no sign of iOS at all. Okay, and even my bosses used to use BlackBerry, like how we have now iPhones. Okay, so if you're on a top management level, you have to use, or it's a must, you use iPhones. Okay, for a reason. I'll tell you why people tend to use iPhones. Okay, why they use is because of privacy, because of this less kind of hack attacks, okay, happening on iOS. So on a management levels or on a higher levels, people tend to use iPhones. Okay, now if you're using Android phone, then you might be getting hacked. So you can't be careless in business when you are on a very high level and then you are still using Androids. Okay, even now I'm saying, even now it's a high chance you get hacked. Okay. So at that time, BlackBerry was the only phone in the market, and people used to use Blackberries a lot on in terms of higher level management. There was Windows iMate. If anybody of you heard of iMates, okay, from Microsoft with a stylus and everything, they were totally a Windows app. Okay, they used to have Windows, and that also existed for a good 3 years, I think, in market, and people used to build apps on that. I never saw, honestly, I never saw the market of that, how the apps were there at that particular time of period. Okay, I don't know how it works. Okay, now coming to iOS, which came with iPhone, and there's a great talk by Steve Jobs when he actually launched iPhone, iPod, and there was iTunes, I think, iTunes Music. Okay, there was a very big video on YouTube, about an hour, where he introduced all these three disruptive methodologies, like how we actually interact with fingers, okay? How we do it with fingers, again. So he said, no, we don't need a stylus, we don't need anything. All we need is your pointing devices, okay? 5 pointing devices. God gave us like 10 pointing devices, so let's use that and do the gestures and so on. And it was quite patented at that time by Steve Jobs and the team, okay, Apple team. So they actually disrupted the market, and they brought up a phone which was without a keyboard. BlackBerry was full of keyboards, again. Now they, and I don't have to get into this. You can watch a video about that, and he's great in terms of explaining how things are working. So basically, again, coming back to the point, the language choice for building iOS was Objective-C, okay, and then maybe 4 years back we have Swift, okay, 4-5 years back we have Swift. Objective-C was very tough language to adapt. Like, people were having hard times. Even I gave a try for 6 months. It was quite tough. Because of this reason, okay, one of the reason was memory leaks, okay. A lot of memory leaks used to happen with Objective-C, okay. And then came a type safe and a memory safe language, which is Swift, with its own garbage collectors and so on, okay, just touching up a bit of technical stuff. So Swift was, even today, I think most of the developers have migrated from Objective-C to Swift. So it became a one language where your students can learn with iOS, okay. Swift is the language to go. Now, coming to Android, Android came along with iOS maybe after a few years, but it's continuing on a destruction path, okay. Like, it's never a choice where my team or anybody is happy with Android, okay. Honestly, iOS, we are happy. We are very happy with iOS development. So we have a good night's sleep. We don't have any bugs or issues, okay. But when it comes to Android, we have huge heart attacks, complete night sittings and doing things just to cope up with Android versions coming in. So Android was a super failure till Android 8, I think, and 9, okay, now. And now we have, I think, 11 or something, I guess, okay. So eventually what they did, they followed iOS, okay. They followed iOS in terms of the features and the security manner and everything. So if you have an Android phone now, there are high chances you get secured if you're hacked, okay. But back in 2015, I could have hacked you easily, okay, via building an app and reading your contacts, basically, and your messages, your SMSs and everything, okay, if you install my app. But I would have never done that from iOS first version, okay, even iOS 2.0 and so on, okay. So I couldn't have done that, because iPhone always asks users permission, okay, when I need to know anything from the phone, or I need to access any kind of information from the phone, okay. So their primary philosophy is that users should be able to give rights to any app which is sitting in the App Store. And that's the point, okay. And then so Android is still, it's very tough to deal in now, but still, if you notice, we have if you need a mobile app today you need two kinds of developers. One is iOS, the other one is Android. So that's again a problem for building apps and maintaining apps. Why? Means two places. If we develop a user interface, okay, we have to sit with Android team, we have to sit with iOS team, and think of very big project where you have iOS, like 15-20 iOS developers, 15-20 Android developers. It's very tough to communicate them the intent of it, primarily because the user interfaces are different. It's not that you can keep a universal UIs if you're doing separately on iOS and Android. So you have to have a meeting with iOS team, you have to have a meeting with Android team, you have to convey them particular to their user interfaces. So if you notice, this is again a war, okay? This is again a browser war, where we need to have two people knowing two different things, okay? And then any maintenance happens, like any feature changes or updates happens, then again what happens? They have to come back to Android team, iOS team separately and make it working, okay? Then due to that particular reason, there came PhoneGap, okay? An app which was handling unified user interfaces. You guys can write this, okay? PhoneGap came for unifying the user interfaces on Android and iOS. So, but this came with huge limitation. Nobody uses it. I used it in 2015 once and for all. Okay, finish. We just use it once, and we never used this technology. But this gave a direction. PhoneGap settled something, or they demanded, or they asked for universal user interface on mobile apps. So if I open iPhone, I open an app, Flipkart, and if I go to Android, I open a Flipkart app there, it has to be same, okay? Do you guys agree? Like if you are working on Android and then iOS, should it be different or same? It should be different. No, it should be same, correct? So it has to be same interface wherever you use it. If you use Flipkart on web, if you use it on mobile, use on iPad, okay? It could be, I mean, in the sense, you have a login button every time. It has to be on that particular place only, okay? You can't keep rotating your logins every time on different devices, okay? That's a bad design, okay? That's a really bad design. So you need to be very subtle in knowing where things are on user interfaces, okay? So PhoneGap taught us or gave us a direction on that particular thing, okay? Industry-wise, I'm saying, industry-wise, okay? So I know people were shouting before PhoneGap to unify the user interfaces, but PhoneGap came with a technology where they did that, okay? But the problem PhoneGap had was it was running inside the web browser. So it was like you're opening app, but everything was running via web app, okay? Kind of web app. So that way, it lost its charm, and then it was mostly kind of dead now, okay? But it still claims they are building nice apps, but we don't go as a company, we don't use it, okay? Now coming to the point of React Native, which came in 2017 or 16, in terms of open source, okay? Facebook was using this since maybe 8 years or 6 years, okay? Building internally everything what it has, okay, on the front end. So backend was PHP, front end was React Native, okay, on Facebook. And especially the chat thing, which again, now billions of people are using it. React Native chat, okay, still working nicely on that particular technology, okay. Now coming to React Native, it was very promising, still very promising. We have been using React Native on several apps. Now what it does, and why we don't build in iOS and Android, or why don't we use PhoneGap? PhoneGap, you guys heard, it's not of any use today. The React Native, what it does is this. React Native firstly used JavaScript. So JavaScript is a universal language, again, sitting on even on the Node.js. If you guys heard of Node.js, is a JavaScript platform where it uses JavaScript. React Native is again front-end technology which uses JavaScript. So now even today we find full stack developer who knows React Native, who knows Node.js, and we can just simply hire them to build a nice web application. Okay, so we don't need to have a ASP.NET different team, PHP different team, and React Native different team. Okay, the languages are different. So basically, React Native gave us a point where it was writing code in JavaScript, like me, like we write code in JavaScript. And what React Native does is it will give me an output in iOS and an output in Android. So what it does, you guys understand what it is doing? It is actually allowing developers to write code in JavaScript, which is very known to me. Like JavaScript I started in 2003, okay? I started writing JavaScript since then. So it's very, very similar and familiar language for me, okay? So we used JavaScript in React Native, which was very like paradise for us. And then we built nice platforms, and we used to build only on JavaScript, and then we used to get on iPhone and on Android as well, okay? And that was the leverage Facebook was getting or giving us in terms of React Native, okay? So now, once we have React Native for maybe 3 years or something, then Flutter came in from Google again. So Google's attempt to again have something on mobile end, okay? And we do have a web end for Flutter. So Flutter is current cutting edge technology again, where people are Very, very curious, very exciting to learn. Even today, we wanted to learn these things, okay, Flutter. And I did a fair amount of study in Flutter, but should we use Flutter in Fliv? Okay, that's the question, okay? Since it's only 1 year old, okay? Now coming to the point I said, okay, in the end, I'll make you enable in terms of selecting a technology, okay? It's a very small and a very piece of cake thing, okay, for us to know which technology to use and not get overwhelmed by the community talks and so on, okay? So we need to decide on ourselves what we are doing, what we are giving to our customers. We need to know what we are doing basically, okay? So now Flutter came in. Flutter is a great thing. Now, if you compare the architecture, now the fighting is about architecture now since React Native came, okay? Now React Native and Flutter are both building iOS and Android outputs, but giving us a great kind of architecture to write code. So React Native is based on JavaScript. JavaScript is a bit faulty language in itself, again, itself. So that real, again, when you actually write code, there's no null handling in React Native. So once we receive something from APIs, we have to have null checks and so on. So pretty much it becomes ugly very soon, okay, React Native, okay? Whereas again, it's not also, if you guys know the language backgrounds, it is dynamically typed language, JavaScript I'm saying. Forget about React Native, but React Native, you cannot write code in React Native, but you have to use JavaScript only, okay? There's no other language. So now came, I just heard recently, maybe a couple of days back, you can replace JavaScript in React Native with another language, okay, which has null checks, which has type safety. Type safety is very important when you write code. Strongly types and so on, okay? You can write this down and check what is type safety in systems, okay? So type safety is given by, not by JavaScript, but by another language. So React Native tends to forget JavaScript sooner, maybe in a couple of years, and then will use something else, okay? Now coming to Flutter, it is a statically typed language already, okay, and a strongly typed language. Flutter is again using Dart, okay, D-A-R-T, okay? So let me write down here, so you guys can Google it. Flutter uses Dart, okay? So it uses Dart as a language. So it is, again, a very promising language. But can we now use Flutter in Fliv, like a company? No, we cannot use it, okay? Unless and until it proves itself for another 4 years in the market, there's a community building around it. I get support from Flutter, then only in company I'll use it. So now the bottom line is this, okay, guys? If we have a technology on the shelf, be it from Google or Facebook or any other company, Amazon or anyone on the earth, you have to wait for at least 3 years is a benchmark or a thumb rule. You have to wait for 3 to 4 years before you actually use it in production for your customers, okay? But if you want to learn, I would advise learn it from the day one. What's the harm in learning it? Okay, then you will be very prepared, okay? You will know what it does, what it doesn't do. You will know those things, okay? Now Xamarin has been doing the same thing. Xamarin is one more aspect to mobile app, which is very famous name again when it builds enterprise applications, okay? So using this, we can build enterprise, and this is from Microsoft, okay? Xamarin is from Microsoft. It is a closed source. It's not open source. Compared to your React Native and Flutter, these are open source. Anybody can download and start using it. Xamarin, you have to pay per license, okay? It does cost you. For each developer, you have to pay license fee, okay? So basically, nobody uses it except nice product development companies, very big companies, okay? Now, I have met recently a company whom we are partnered with them. The company is again at Banjara Hills, and they're using mobile apps using Xamarin, okay? So now see, Fliv, we were very smart. Like we had under our belt every technology like Knockout, starting jQuery, React Native, and now Flutter, everything. But these guys, they only know Xamarin, nothing else. The whole team knows only Xamarin. So we were very harmoniously talking about both things together. Okay, I know Xamarin is great when you're having a product oriented, customer oriented approach. You need to have Xamarin. I learned that. Okay, but if you have a very small kind of clientele and you can just make it very fast for them to move on, then React Native and Flutter can be a possibility. But even then, Flutter can't be used unless and until it establishes, proves itself for coming 3-4 years. Okay, this is the most important thing in my 17 years of journey. You're learning. Okay, you can't pick any technology and put into production. Okay, and ask any developer, any lead developer, do they do that? Okay, they will never do that. Okay, they will always be afraid of doing that, because Flutter is today, but maybe after 2 years or 3 years, Google might abandon that. Okay, there's no liability that it will keep supporting you. There's no liability at all for programmers, that Google will be there for another 10 years supporting you. Okay, so this is how. So I think my talk was about 170 years of journey, not 17 years. Okay, we have seen so many things. I've left so many things. I'm saying you guys, again, so many features, so many aspects which we could have put down here, but due to again limited timelines I've been allotted, I couldn't speak more on it. Okay, so just to wrap it up now, backend APIs. So mobile apps cannot be built only by using React Native, Flutter, or Xamarin, or so on. Okay, you need to have a backend technology, which is again can be built by any backend technology like PHP, Node.js, okay, or ASP.NET Web APIs and Core. Okay, these are the current latest cutting edge technologies which we can use to develop APIs. Okay, so I'll give you I'll try to show you what happens when now a mobile app or a web app is being built. Okay, both have come to a same point of view now. Okay, so we will have a browser, okay, that would be interacting with server. Okay, this could be application server, and this would be dealing with database servers. Okay, this is the normal architecture of a typical app. Okay, the browser and this. For mobile, this is like app, the server, and database server. Okay, so both have arrived to the same what we say, the understanding of how things are working. Okay, so this is how you need to understand, and I don't see any technology which is having another architecture than these. Okay, the basic level is server, database server, a browser. Now you can also have multiple servers inside server, like I'll tell you, a caching server. Okay, which we did, caching server, image server, okay, for storing images. Okay, a different server, and you have so many other servers. Okay, basically, which I have used imaging and caching at all, and that's all I need for now. Okay, to develop a good backend which supports both web and mobile apps. Okay, so this is the architecture, typical architecture. We don't have anything else, and I'm talking about actual servers. These are actual servers, which I'll be just quickly wrapping up here. I think on Amazon. Okay, how we deal with servers and so on. Okay, infrastructure wise, I'll touch a bit on it. Okay, now disconnect issues between both teams back in. Okay, I'm still facing current issues are and nobody is able to solve it. Is always the front-end developers and back-end developers, they always have issues and they give me nightmares still. Okay, they still give me nightmares. Okay, so that's one of the issue we are facing. Postman is used. This is a tool which you can show to your team, that Postman is a tool which I always have here. Okay, on my desktop. Okay, Postman is a tool where we can test the APIs being developed on backend. Okay, before we give it to front-end development team. Okay, so this is very important, and we need to have a documentation also where they can see what kind of APIs we have and we can use to develop mobile apps. And before we end, I think thorough testing on local and production servers. So when we are doing any kind of application, when we are building, we need to test it thoroughly on local and on production servers. Okay, so never launch anything without testing. I would bold it so you guys can train this to your people around, that this is absolutely required. Okay, absolutely required. And I'm not saying about black box, white box, unit testing or something, but basic development testing. If you ask me Wasim, build an application with a login screen, okay? Now, if I type in my username and password, if I submit, there shouldn't be an error, okay? But yes, if I type in username, let's say, if username is email, example an email, okay? If I type in mobile number, I am not talking about that kind of testing here. So I'm just talking about it should submit. Once it submits, it can do anything, but it should submit and get a validation from backend, okay? Like, okay, the user is authenticated or not. But I know many developers are coming up now where they just write code. Okay, please concentrate here. They write code, everything. They never go and press one single time a login button. Can you imagine that? So I have a problem with coming generations where they are not caring about doing their minimum job of testing also, okay? So I'm clear here. I'm not talking about, again, the basic kind of testings, okay? Like, okay, if email has a at the rate in it or a dot in it, okay, nothing like that, okay? I'm just talking about something. Go click your login button. See what will happen, okay? Might be you have not written enough, okay, the code itself. So that kind of basic testing we need to do, okay? And then good developers always test a lot in terms of black box and white box and unit testing, okay? So I think I have wrapped up your environments, what we do in terms of, I have not left any technology in web or mobile app, which is very, very famous, okay? So I never heard of, okay? So I like React Native, you have Flutter, you have, and then the recent ones, the old ones are still iOS and Android itself. Phone Gap also we covered. And in the web, we have covered your front-end technologies a lot, okay, which was very important. Now, okay, one more thing which I really want to show is this one, okay? This is very important aspect. I would be doing code when I started doing development, okay? I knew I would be doing code, but I want to save my hairs also, okay? I shouldn't go bald, okay? If I do embedded systems, if I do aeronautics or something, okay, that is too complex for my work-life balance, okay, I would go bald, okay? So again, there's a pros and cons here, okay? I would have done embedded, and I would be a different person altogether. I believe that, okay? But now I'm having a very good work-life balance, okay? And especially during COVID, it has helped me and my family stay strong, okay? So I'm always working from home since last 3 months, okay? We are just working from home. And just to let you know, I ran a very small company, okay? This I would be continuing in my entrepreneur talk, okay? And how I started my company and so on. But just to put a point here, I started as a very small company, very small team, and I used to work from home since 10 years. So since 2010, I'm in COVID kind of situation, okay? Just sitting at home and working, okay? And my team always works from home, okay? We do have an office at Banjara Hills since 2012, the same office. We didn't change it, okay? We are still paying the rents and everything. And we often meet, okay? And there are dedicated developers sitting there working for my partner companies, okay? So I do have my partner companies in UAE, Kuwait, and other areas where they demand that a person should sit in office and work. So I have a team of at least 4 or 5 people who come daily and work from office. But my team and my developers team are working from home since 10 years. But now my plan has changed a lot. I need to be more, like, I was in comfort zone, guys. Okay, that is wrong. I accepted it. And once I hit the floor, I can be a team of 50 to 100 people very soon. And we have planned that, okay? By the end of year, we should have at least 50 to 100 team, okay? In terms of sales and development and everything. So, but when I chose this field as a development, okay, then that was the ability to work from anywhere was the strongest consideration, okay? If I migrate anywhere, if I'm not in India, although I never left again, okay? Once I came back to India, I always wanted to be in India. Although I can go anywhere and settle, okay? But again, and this was the place where I was born, and I have many people, like a social life here, okay? Many people again. Mr. Zahir is one of my colleague and very able person, okay, from my end. And we have been communicating a lot since maybe 10 years, not quite often, but always in touch, okay? So I need people around me to support me, and I would rather do the same, okay? And so I needed that kind of support, and this job facilitated me a lot in doing that. Okay, and my family also needs me a lot, so I'm always there for them. Okay, so that's the biggest point and advantage of choosing something into development, particularly of mobile and web. But if you become an embedded system guy, then you have to run to the actual machine if the machine has gone something or wrong or something. Okay, you have to go and check yourself. You can't be sitting at home and doing things. Okay, so automations came now. Automations are coming now, but still we don't have that kind of facility. Okay, and I've lived my 10 years almost. Okay, after post marriage. Okay, and very happily again. So now coming to hosting and third-party environments, these are the quick things which it could be of very less concern to you guys. But again, AWS is a platform which we have been extensively using in Fliv, and we have around 15 AWS accounts we are maintaining in Fliv, and absolutely managing. This is a totally self-managed system. Okay, Amazon Web Services, and this is very, very early age system cloud environment. I've heard this since 2010, if I'm not wrong. Okay, although I'm using it since 2015. Okay, so we very lately arrived on cloud basically. Okay, and then we have Mailgun. Now you receive transactional emails, kind of, let's say if you are on Flipkart, if you forgot your passwords, your anything. Okay, so you get, or you place an order or something, you receive an email. The major service is Mailgun, which is from SMEs. Okay, small to medium businesses uses Mailgun. Now then coming to OneSignal, when you receive push notifications on mobile app, and how that works. Okay, you have no idea, but OneSignal does that a lot, and Firebase from Google again. Okay, those people handle OTPs and push notifications, any kind of authentications. Like now you can even log in with Google and Facebook, right? So those things OneSignal and Firebase does. Okay, and then you have lastly, when you have an app already built, you have to put it in Apple Store, which we say App Store and Play Store. Okay, and they have their own processes and guidelines to approve it. Apple usually used to take around 10 to 15 days to approve an app. Now they have made it very fast. That cycle is very fast now. They are making in around 3 working days, 2 to 3 working days. Okay, so that's an awesome. They don't work on Saturdays and Sundays. Apple doesn't work on Saturday and Sunday. Now coming to a Play Store approvals, that was almost instantaneous, like 4 hours they take to approve, and it's not even a manual process. In Apple, now see the quality of the apps which I'm talking about. Again, Apple has a manual intervention there if required. Now Play Store, mostly they don't have, like 90% of the time they never go and check anything in the app. Okay, that's the downside, because they have tons of requests coming on Android, unlike your Apple stores. Okay, if you compare, I think 10 times it's bigger than Apple Store. So Apple have quite a good time to actually intervene in each of the app. What they does, are they doing correct? They even introspect the code in it. Okay, and if they are interpreted kind of company. Okay, once they find an issue, they'll throw you back. Okay, fix this and come back. Then again, second time you have to go and you have to wait for a couple of days or 3 days. Then again they will throw a bug. Okay, you have to fix this and come. They will never give you a consolidated kind of stuff. So be careful when you're developing App Store kind of stuff, like you're building iOS apps. Then you have to be very, very careful in knowing how it works. Okay, and you cannot be lenient. You cannot ignore any design guidelines or processes. Okay, for Apple, this is a very important aspect. And many people, now when we launch it, quite nicely we get approved the first time. Okay, as a company. So my team is very able in that. They learn always. They know what things are changing, how things are changing. They're always up to date. Okay, so we have a performance indicator also. When if a developer does that and they get rejected, then basically we mark him as a lazy guy. Okay, basically, and we keep them as the performance indicators. So, and we always enjoy when the app gets right away approved. Okay, now unlike Play Store, it's a real bad game. Okay, any developer, bad developer writing anything gets approved in Play Store. Okay, very bad to say, but this is the process for Play Store. Okay, and obviously the quality of app. So I think I've covered most of the talk at just about the time of 11:45. So I'm open to questions now. If anything is there, then I would be very happy. And let me just put one thing here on a notepad. Okay, just one last thing, and then we can start that. So my belief now for students and for every human, okay, is this. Okay, first you gain academics, or we have the life we spend academics, okay, and then we have you have to have the skills. Okay, this is how every person has to be. Okay, skill set has to be there, and then you become a master in that. That is called as mastery, and then you do sales. Okay, this is where I fit in. Okay, my academics and skill set was almost the same. Okay, the 6 years I did my bachelor's and master's, I was actually went ahead and did mastery also. Okay? During that 6 years. Okay, so I never wasted my 2 years or 1 year after after coming out of academics. Now, if you ask me, without academics, will it work? I can challenge you, it doesn't work at all. Okay, dropouts can never succeed. Okay, how I'm saying now, Bill Gates is a dropout, Steve Jobs is a dropout. Again, these people have limited knowledge in terms of understanding systems. Again, they're very focused towards their skill set only. If you ask them anything apart from mobile apps or web apps or systems, computer systems, they fail to understand that. Okay, so now academics, what I argue, okay, and I strongly stand is academics in India or anyway, I think not, I don't know about foreign countries, but academics in India give me a touch on every aspect of life. Okay, that is the beauty of being learning in India. Okay, academics are never limited to one aspect. Okay, I hope you guys agree on that. Okay, so it gave me how the aeroplanes work. It gave me a gist of it and understanding how things work. Okay, aerodynamics, it explained me. Specific gravity, it explained me. Okay, when it comes to any other area, okay, I'm a kind of maths and science person. So if you ask me anything, I would at least touch on it. Okay, and I can go to Google and learn about it at least. Okay, till now. Okay. So the best part of my life I'm enjoying is I'm not purely technical like if Steve Jobs or any other person who is a dropout and he didn't do any academics. I know I know how to plant things. I know how the flowers comes in, what is chlorophyll, what is what do plants have life or not? So many aspects. You touch me on anything, I can talk. So and this was only possible because I learned academics in India. Okay, I don't think you get this kind of stuff when you go foreign and learn something. Okay, because from the beginning they put you on this kind of platform. Okay, skill set and mastery and sales. Okay, all they look at is to get something in life which is a commercial aspect of it. I was lucky, I can say, not just enjoyed, I was lucky to learn in India academics. And then I knew I need to do web development because it served me my purpose in life. Okay, and then I started mastering it. And then once I was master, then I added one more layer which everybody in India currently needs. This. Okay, sir, please, everybody, I'm saying this again, don't make them a job oriented personalities. Okay, make in India is something which we actually need. And I've tweeted maybe a week back about make in India, that it will take 100 years for us to develop something in India. Okay, 100 years. Okay, that's very sad thing. It can never happen here for having another Facebook or another Google or something in India. Although we are very technical, but still we can't attempt these things. So what we need to do is we need to inculcate from my kid of 10 years to the kids or the youngsters which are coming out of the colleges and so on. They need to know they are not just working for other companies and giving or lending away the mastery to them. Okay, they need to know they need to do sales and sell that to any other country, not just India. Now, proudly, we are selling our mastery to around the globe. Okay, so we don't sell it in India. I never sold something in India. We just worked with companies across the world. We are rendering them some services which we are master at. Okay, so the name there goes as Fliv. The moment somebody types in Fliv, it is make in India. Okay, it's not somewhere else. So please enable the people around. And that would be my next talk, I think, on entrepreneur and how to become and how to be that, purely on this talk, okay, which is sales and make in India movement, okay. And if you inculcate today, if my kid knew that I have to build something in India and I have to sustain in India, I have to market myself outside India, then I think it will take another 100 years where you have people like Mark Zuckerberg in India and many other people like Steve Jobs in India. We have immense cultural influence. We have immense creativity other than other people's, okay, in the group. I treat everyone as same, but we have an edge over our ancestry, okay. We have a quite good kind of and a kind of ancestors have came in, okay. So we have a good amount of knowledge in terms of getting more creative than what we are doing. What we are doing now, operating on simple mobile phones, sitting on Zoom and doing things is all, I would be very sorry to say, but it's all very, very kind of novice or a very small thing, okay. We need to have something better than what we are using now, okay. So my point is, if you write code, that shouldn't be, everybody should not write code, okay. They should write in English that, okay, we want to make a system and something, and that system should pop up via AI, artificial intelligence, and automations, okay. That's the main thing we are trying in Flip. We are trying to build a website by just, when you come to me and say, Wasim, we need 10 employee system, and it does this. When you say me, my system is ready in front of you in maybe a matter of 5 minutes, okay. I build a system and give you, not sit with developers and do these all things which we are seeing here, okay. You get it? So I'm done, I think. So please take over. And I thanks again for entire BJIT team that they have given us an opportunity to talk. And I am very honored again to share my views and honest advices across the platform, okay? Thanks again. I'm done, so we can have questions if we have, okay?
Yes, sir. Hello.
By the way, was it audible? Like everything was audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything is audible. It was a great session, and we learned a lot of things, like how to develop the web applications, what to develop, what is the advanced technologies, and all. We have a few questions in YouTube. Just I'll explain those questions. Please, please give us comments about that questions.
Sure.
So the first question is. The question asked by Nakul Sharma, what is the role of automation in web development? What are the future roles in web development with respect to automation?
Yeah, so great. Okay, I just finished automation. So we got a question related to that. Okay. So automation, what we are trying to build, I just missed his name, but please listen to this. What we are trying to do is we often find an article also, web development or front-end developers would not exist anymore in coming 5 years. Okay. Why? Because if you come and ask me anything to build up, as a company, I won't be wasting front-end development or developers or invest time in building something, okay? Why? Because we have learned so much in last 20 years in web development. All the projects or all the products which are being developed is all redundant, okay? I will write it here for you, redundant, okay? It's like, it's always alike, okay? The same thing. So once we learn building any project, any code, when you write, okay? When you write any code, if it is repeating, so you guys have heard DRY, okay? DRY is don't repeat yourself, even in life or at work, okay? We should not repeat ourselves. So there are things which we are constantly repeating. Every time we are repeating the same thing. So we can make an automation and eradicate those things. How we do that? We have smart languages, again, like C#, okay, and PHP and so on, okay. So we build automations using these languages and libraries. We have nice libraries. You can hunt for automation libraries, okay. You'll find so many automation libraries that sits on mobile and web. Specifically, I'm saying, okay, not on any other, like digital science, again, IoTs. You have automation libraries for entire domains. Okay, so if you're talking about automation libraries here, then this is a cool thing. Okay, like you need to learn about them and start using them. So basically, what I see in 5 years, you will never have a kind of React Native or something. Okay, so you just typically will write application in declarative syntax. Okay, syntax where you'll be writing like this. Okay, I need a login for 10 people or 10 employees. Okay, that does this 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, and the system will generate an application for you. Okay, so this is where I see still it's not being done. Okay, honestly, nobody is doing something like this. They're all writing manual code by taking developers. We need to eradicate this in coming 5 years, and this is what we are doing in Fliv. Okay, from this year we have started doing automations and so on. Okay, I hope I addressed the question.
You're absolutely, sir. One more question, sir. The question is, closed sources depend on others for our welfare. So how is it better? When Google refused to give support of AngularJS or Microsoft refused to give support of MS technology, whom should developers take? I hope your question is understandable.
Yeah, so coming to again, I'll make it clear. Okay, when you're using something which is closed source, the companies are, you can go and sue them. Okay, this is the best thing you can do. If they give you trouble, you can just go and sue them in their countries. Okay, but if it is open source, you can't do any, or you can't take any actions because you are already in kind of acceptance that okay, if they can once they do something, then only we will be using it. That's the basic difference of open source and a closed source. Okay, so let's say if I'm using Xamarin, and if it has any bugs in it, I can go and shout to Microsoft team. I can go and talk to them. I can ask them to fix and give me this right away, because due to the bug, I'm facing issues. Okay, you can at least communicate them this. But open source, you can't be commanding, you can't make them work faster. Okay, that is how it is. And open source, they don't have any point of where they communicate with you. Often they do, okay, 6 months before, 1 year, but closed source often communicate a lot before they shut down something. Okay, a lot before, like maybe at least a year or 2 years before they plan shutting it down. They always do that. Okay, I'm done. Yeah.
Sir, Divya ma'am will take care.
Okay. Dear participants, Zoom participants, if you have any queries, you can switch on your mic and ask question. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for addressing the queries of the participants from the YouTube listeners. And thank you, sir. We are having a great opportunity to listen to the words by a great knowledgeable speaker. And thank you very much for sharing your profound knowledge with us. I appreciate you the detail you went into journey of a successful developer. And thank you for bringing the awareness of existing technologies. At the end, your session was full of zeal and valuable information. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot, all of you. Okay, thanks a lot. It was great pleasure. And the best thing was no mics were turned on. Okay, so awesome thing. Yeah, thanks a lot again. Okay, thank you.
Now, may I request our principal, Dr. A. Padmaja Madam, to end this session by closing remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Divya. First of all, I would like to congratulate CSC department and head of the department, Dr. B. Vijay Kumar Garu, and coordinators of this FDP program on developing potentials, emerging technologies of computer science. And all the sessions are very much required for all the computer science professionals who have attended this session in the domains of data science, IoT, blockchain technology, Salesforce, and mobile and web development. I thank all the coordinators who are deeply involved in coordinating with the experts in making this event happen, especially Mr. Praveen, Dr. Arna Kumari, Dr. Ramesh Babu, Mr. Jahir, Ms. Divya, and Venkatesharlu from the CSC department. For coordinating with all the experts in making this event happen. We are very much thankful to all the expert speakers for highlighting on emerging areas of computer science. And I think all the participants attended for the 1 week session have benefited from this session, from these talks. And thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Wasim Siddiqui Garu. I could hear few of your lecture last at the end. I have joined on mobile and app development.
Thanks, ma'am.
Well,
Thanks a lot.
yeah, for enlightening faculty on industry perspective also, and also the areas needs to be concentrated. In fact,
Right.
yesterday we had a academic council meeting where the curriculum part we are discussing on that. Yeah, we are thinking of including the design aspects in the curriculum also. I think this is the need of the hour where the faculty and also the students needs to do projects in this area in any
Right.
domain. The
Right.
design aspects are missing in the curriculum. That's what we have highlighted yesterday. I think it will be revised in the soon in the future curriculums.
Okay, great.
And also the explaining lively with the case studies, that is very much beneficial for all the faculty and I don't know students are there or not in this session. Maybe after going to their respective colleges, the faculty and should share their experiences with the respective college faculty as well as the students. Um, this is one of the attending is one aspect, and going back to the colleges and extending this knowledge to the other faculty is very important, and other students also, and start working on the expert suggestions in the advanced areas where the mobile app development also Siddiqui has explained where they need to focus. These are the areas the faculty should need to concentrate, especially on the student projects in this domain, and also the projects which should benefits to the society. That is very much important. These are the areas the faculty should focus. I hope all the faculty here will take back the sessions knowledge to their respective faculty and students after going back to their colleges. I thank all the participants from various corners of city or India, from different universities and reputed institutes part- participating in this FDFI program. Once again, I congratulate all the CSC department team for organizing this wonderful session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. I request all the participants by the end of this day, you will be receiving a feedback link in your respective WhatsApp groups or email. Kindly fill the details in a correct manner, which helps us to generate the certificates as well. Thank you. Thank you once again.